Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Last week of the Chanchi, pressure is on. It's time to get enlightened, okay? You work so hard, yeah? Okay, any questions and comments? If not, we go into Master YongHua's instructions. Yes, 5.
师父阿弥陀佛，我想和大家分享一下9天断食的感受。苦难是上天赐给我们最宝贵的财富，不要畏惧苦难，经历苦难和战胜苦难才是真正的修行。断食之后，让我增长了很多的慈悲心和感恩的心。很感恩在这次断食中所有帮助过我的人，是他们让我有了一次很宝贵的体验。谢谢大家，谢谢师父。
Emitofuo Master, I'm sharing my 9 days fasting experience. I realize suffering is the most precious gift bestowed upon us by the heavens. Do not fear suffering. Experiencing and overcoming suffering is true cultivation. After fasting, my compassion and gratitude have deepened. I'm grateful to everyone who helped me during this fasting experiences. It's through your support that I gained such a valuable experience.
Thank you for your feedback. All feedback are greatly welcome. That's through your feedbacks that we learn more about you, what we did wrong, we did right, and so forth, and we adjust our Dharma, our processes. Throughout the years, I somehow stumble into this process because of you. It's because of the people who came to us, and in spite of my temper, in spite of my many character flaws, people hung around and got a lot out of the Dharma. So first, it's because of the Dharma from great Master YongHua. That's why we're still here. We're still studying his Dharma because it's very profound. It has a lot of aspects that I didn't know before, and so I really appreciate the chance to learn from him with all of you. And also, that's a start. And then over the years, I began to understand why the Weiyang training was like that. And it's a lot of trial and errors, to be honest with you. I didn't know what I was doing. So lucky for me, I had this great Chinese teacher who have a track record of producing a lot of good disciples I saw on the other side of the tracks. I thought that although deep in my heart, I wasn't impressed with any of them, but I was impressed with the fact they could get up there, and so if I was able to do that myself, help our people, our students, then that would be time well spent. And amazingly, you moved up there very, very quickly. And I see over the years now, many of you, the first wave, second wave, and third wave, and so forth. And I see how you all adapted and you all benefited so much from this process, depending on how much time you have to put into this process. And so it's all because of you that all this happens. And eventually, we developed this community where it's very, very special. I feel I'm so honored to be with you because you are so kind, you're so compassionate, because you really want to help your fellow cultivators, okay? And so whatever the newcomers are getting, it's primarily more from you than from me, because it's a combination where in the traditional sense, I'm supposed to keep the distance. I don't know why. To this day, I don't know why I can't shake hands with you. And after I speak Dharma to you, why is it I can't shake hands with you and have some ice cream? I still don't understand it. Maybe someday I will. But I was beaten to my head when I was a novice that I was speaking Dharma, and for some reason, a lot of people liked it. And I was speaking, really repeating what I learned from Master YongHua's readings, not necessarily from my Dharma brother's teachings or whatever, if any at all. And the disciples of Master YongHua really enjoyed it. The Go generation as well, the Chin generation, they really, really appreciate it. And so after every single lecture, I was in Canada to be punished, to be physically and mentally punished. And after every single lecture, these students there, the Canadians, were so happy because it's the first time that they're able to actually interact with a monk, albeit a novice monk who doesn't know what he's doing, but they really enjoyed being able to interact and ask questions back and forth. Okay, and I was and so that was the start. And the monk there, who's no longer with them, came back and says, I noticed that they really, he would sit behind a pillar. They have big pillars in that building there, okay? So he would sit behind a pillar to listen to me. He would sneak in, and then sit behind the pillar, so I didn't even know that he was there. And he would travel, like most of the month he would be on travel. And so I had plenty of time by myself to meditate, and that's it. And then he would come back for a week or so, and then he would sneak up from his office to behind the pillar and listen to me for the whole session, okay? And then, very sneaky, weird, you don't do that. And especially if you're American. Maybe Chinese, I understand. Taiwanese, I understand that. But American, we don't do that. We don't sneak up on people. We announce ourselves. And he would then notice on how people got excited and came up and talked to me after a lecture. So after each lecture, it would be like half an hour more for me, okay? Every Dharma talk, so we'd hold a chant class. I would sit with them for an hour, 58 minutes. And then after that, I spoke Dharma for them for about 20 minutes, because that's what's allowed. That's all we have to speak. And then half of it is translation, so I only have to speak 10 minutes. But people still got excited because they're able to ask questions back and forth. There's a lot of back and forth. And they enjoy it. And I began to enjoy more and more, because until then, I was simply reading Master YongHua's Chan books, Chan instruction I could find anywhere in his translations. And then the translation, his teachings. And then that was the first time I was able to experiment, okay, and speak in what I thought was the right thing to do for meditation. And they liked it. I think they like more not about my knowledge, but about the being able to interact with me and going back and forth and back and forth. I learned a lot too. Whereas them people, they give you, a very short time, like 5-10 minutes, and they cut you off, okay? We'd sit there and we talk 20 minutes, half an hour, sometimes longer if there are more questions. And so after it ended, each session, people would come and talk to me. 3 or 4 people at least would line up and wait to talk to me. So he came back and he said, "Hey boy, because you're a novice, you're nobody. If you're thinking of becoming a novice, first phase, you're nobody, you're abused." He told me himself, he says, in our world, a novice is worse than lay people. Why? Because lay people at least give us money. You novices basically are a burden to us. So you are nothing, you're crap, and you're treated accordingly. So he said, "Hey boy, traditionally in our world, Master YongHua does not allow us to speak to people. The Chinese masters, after they speak Dharma, they would stand up and then walk out of the Dharma hall back to their quarters and would not stop even to say hello and acknowledge anyone at all. So that's the Chinese tradition. Okay, so he stopped me from doing that. He forbade me from speaking to people after the lecture, after the Dharma talks. And so I had to speak Dharma quite often, even as a novice. During the sits, that was like once or twice a week on weeknights, and then Saturday, chant class in the morning, and then Sunday, Pure Land, Dharma Assembly lecture on Sundays for sure. And so I was doing a lot of Dharma talks, so I learned the Chinese style. That's why I still honor it, because I don't understand why is that I can't speak to you, because I like it. We spend time interacting and connecting and asking back and forth. I learn from you, you learn from me. And why is it I can't talk to you after? I still don't get it. But until I get it, then I will change it if I think it's appropriate. I still don't understand why I can't. That's why I'm not changing it. Okay? But so it was a lot of learning, a great learning experience for me to be there and then to be here with you. And so I really, really enjoy it. And also what I observed as well is that there's a mention of there's a lot of suffering here, and cultivation really boils down to enduring what's difficult to endure. Okay, that's the core of cultivation in Mahayana. Hinayana, Tibetan, all those things, they are especially non-Buddhist cultivation. They cultivate because they're seeking pleasure, they're seeking spiritual penetration, they're seeking this, they're seeking that. For us here, in a way, Yang lineage, we cultivate. The first thing you need to learn to do is to be willing to endure it. Okay? And if you endure it, you endure a little, you get a little of peace and bliss. More. A little more peace and bliss. You endure more, you get even more peace and bliss. That's the process. And I feel that's what people have been getting from our sessions. Agree, disagree, huh? CNC, you've been with me the longest, and you've been teaching a lot of people to yourselves, okay? And so this is magical, because just endure a little bit more, and you get more out of it. It's not one-to-one, by the way. You endure 1 more minute, you get 5 times more, 10 times more, 100 times more. okay? And so kudos to you. And people keep on coming and coming back and enduring more and more because they are very blessed. You're very blessed because the suffering and the initial hardship there doesn't bother you. You get, you because of the reinforcement from others who are also here with you, and or whatever the things we've been doing for the last about 20 years now, it's it's very beneficial for so many of you. Yes, do you want to say something?
I want to say
The
something.
incoming abbot of Gold Force, if the old monk is alive and makes it back. If not, you stay put.
There's comments coming in to clarify with Master that there's 2 more weeks of Chanqi left.
2 more? Oh yeah, that's right. Then you will increase your level of enlightenment. Thank you. See, Master is getting old. He cannot tell 1 from 2 anymore. And where am I again? All right, anyone else? Okay. And also, you're very honest. You speak your mind. This is how we are. There's no beating around the bush. We're not perfect, but we can speak our minds. And also another observation is that there's a small number of people who got some benefits from cultivation as well, got good stuff from our Chan sessions, our Pure Land sessions, our sutra lectures, and so forth. And of course, these people also value the transmission of the 42 hands and eyes. They know it's a real treasure that we give away for free, okay? And because it's for you, it's not, the Dharma is for you to benefit you. Or we're not supposed to monetize it, only because I don't know how to do it yet. I'm not above it. But they got a lot too. And I noticed eventually they left. They find reasons to leave. They got something. They got peace and bliss. They got so much better. I will explain you more as we go into this more, because Master YongHua, I love studying his teachings because it's revealing me more and more what I know in official terms. It's so cool. He confirmed as I prepared for the sutra lectures, in particular, the prologue. Now I'm beginning to enjoy it more, okay? Because he's revealing a lot of stuff in the prologue that's not revealed in the other sutras. It's so cool, okay? It's a shame that they stopped the translation to door number 2. They should have translated the whole thing, because he revealed so much information that really confirmed what I discovered on my own. Okay. Anyway, our blessings are limited, so be it. And Vimala Kirti Sutra, we're learning from Master Chu Yi, tutor, and thanks to the help from my disciples, recently I asked for more help in research, so I get more and more aspects of what the great Chinese masters explain things. So I'm learning a lot too myself. It's so cool. And then, of course, the Avatamsaka Sutra. We on chapter 1 for the last, I think we're on year number 2 or 3, at least between 2 and 3. And we are like 1/5 of the way of chapter 1. This is why I'm so worried, let me tell you. There's in their information that I know that I'm supposed to transmit to you. That's my job. I hope I don't die before that. I still have a chance to explain to you. And because my master never explained it, and this is very, very important for your generation and future generations. The Chinese, for some reason, Master Shinra did not explain that, and I don't understand why not. It's so important. Okay, and so there are things there. I know that I need to live long enough and have enough energy to be able to explain to you. That's why I'm conserving my energy. Okay, and so that's lots of great things we can learn together. Okay, so anyway, so over the years, I also noticed there are a small group of people who got a lot out of it. They endured the suffering somewhat, and they bitch inside. They didn't say it verbally. These people are two-faced. One side they get along with you, the other side they complain about you, stab you in the back, and make you look bad and so forth. The one common thing is that they did things in order to have access to me. I don't know why. Okay, and they're no longer here. It's because of you. It's not my fault. They're no longer here because their heart is black. That's the difference. Okay, those who do not believe in goodness, who are so selfish and self-centered, eventually have to go. That's my observation. Agree, disagree. You look back and those people are no longer here. Okay? They got a lot. I observe a lot because when I talk about this no longer here, I see a person here, I say, we're going to find out soon, huh? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. You are something else. You are scary, let me tell you, because they can't hide. You are, as a community, as a group, it's nowhere to go. You can't. You can fake it to one person, but everyone sees you. So you are so scary. ESK, you too.
From Portugal, is it okay to listen to mantras when I'm driving?
Sure, why not? But be careful. When you drive, your primary job is to get you to your destination safely. If you find yourself listening to the mantras and lose track of your driving, then please stop. All right, it's not safe, because that's what happens to you. There are some cases where people actually enter samadhi and they still can drive and so forth, but there are some other cases where some of you are wired differently, and so you lose track of where you are. It's very dangerous. When we cultivate, the first thing we try to avoid is to harm others. That's the first directive. Do no harm to others. Doesn't matter how bad and evil they are, okay? You may disagree violently with them. You don't have to harm them. They will leave on their own accord. You don't have to do anything. Okay? And so, anyway, so my point here is that it's a very special community we have together because Because the goodness in your heart grows and grows and grows. If you can't grow and you try to pretend, you can't last very long. That's who we are. Okay, dokie. There's no point in pretending. But people, that doesn't stop people, even though I say so. To come and pretend to do this because they're up to something. Try to. Anyway, I'm not going to go into it. It's your private lives. I observe, I see it, but I don't say anything. It's none of my business. It's your life. Okay, but thank you for the feedback. I really appreciate it. And it's impressive that you got so much so quickly. It's one of the toughest thing, this fasting thing. It's very, very tough. All right. All right, anyone else? Okay, and then let's go and try to catch more of Master YongHua's great teachings.
So we finished reading till the end of the slides last time?
This one? Mm-hmm. Did I finish myself too? I don't
Not
remember.
Yet.
After the weekend, I'm sort of groggy.
Not yet, so...
Not yet?
Yeah.
So basically the point here, he says that when you offer him money, he doesn't use himself. That's impressive, let me tell you, because when you travel, you see food, and you're hungry, and you have craving for pizza and so forth, and he would not use money to buy pizza. He said something else. That means that tells me that he's, of course, he has cravings, but he's able to stick to his principles, not to use money. Mind you, it's not that he doesn't enjoy food, that he doesn't enjoy things, he does. But he says, no, I'm not going to use people's money. It's a triple jewels. That is remarkable. And some of his disciples picked it up as not touching money. To me, it's crap. Here I go again. You're not gonna impress me by pulling tricks like that. It's not real. You're trying to come across that you are not attached to money. You really are not attached to money. Okay, be like him. He sets the standards of not being attached to money, meaning that doesn't matter how much money people give him, and people give him a lot of money. He never used anything for himself. That's impressive. Okay? All right. That's it? Okay, moving on.
We finished reading until the end of slides. There's no more audios, so we read the whole slides till the end. Would you like us to read it again, Master?
Oh, you read it already?
Mm-hmm.
Till the end of the file?
Right.
How many more slides do I have? I'm sorry, I don't remember anymore. A few more slides. Okay, let me continue that. So what does he say? He said, I don't use money for myself. That is incredible. Let me tell you, as a monk, that's incredible. I can't do that. I like pizza. Anyone? If I like pizza, I'm not going to ask you to buy me pizza. I'm going to buy it myself. Okay? It's so embarrassing to tell you, can you buy me some pizza? It's like begging, That's too weird. And then why I don't tell you? Once I tell you I like pizza, which I don't, by the way. It's an example. Don't take it at face value. And And I know every time I say I like something, people notice I like something. I notice like the lunchroom is full of those things, you know. So that's why lunch for me is like trying to pretend not to like anything. Otherwise, people go crazy and buy me, you know, carbonated drinks, beer. Never mind. But why is that? I told you I like imported beer. I didn't see any imported beers. Clearly, you don't understand me at all. I told you repeatedly for the last 20 years I like a red car. What is the matter with you? Yeah. Anyway, let me tell you an honest truth, he says. Some people offer X amount of money to the master. I do not use it myself. What do I do with it? I use all of it to build temples and carry out projects. Boring. I'm very ashamed of myself. And so he, this here, to me, is his attachments. He has to build temples. Yes, his temples are ugly. They're just like more like a building where people come and cultivate. But I feel that somehow he conveyed to his disciples and him that he made it himself that he needed to build temples. And it shows, because he bought land, bought buildings, and his disciples now are building a big temple in the city of 10,000 Buddhas, and so forth. To me, the priorities, I disagree with the priorities. My priorities are you. The temples are supposed to help your cultivation. You don't build temples first, then people come cultivate. We do the exact opposite. Like the Buddha. The Buddha, he taught so many of his disciples. He had so many disciples, and they were very poor. They may have had sponsors, patrons who were kings and so forth. And and you can imagine, he had like 1,255 arhats, okay, who ate a lot, I heard, okay, and they follow him everywhere. So you can imagine the kind of food bill he has every day, okay, 1,255 arhats who followed him everywhere. And so you can tell the Buddha was under tremendous pressure and had a lot of daily expenses of food. I know here at Goforce, people spend a lot of money on food, and it's not a hint. I know it's true. You guys are crazy. You make it difficult and making us monks and nuns fat. It looks bad. It's nothing worse than a fat monk or fat nun, in my mind. Okay, and so he's stuck on building temples. And the Buddha himself, originally, Buddhas went everywhere, and his disciples, when they were with him, they would stay under trees, and there's no temples. Okay, and when Buddha needed to speak the Dharma, he would sit under a tree and spoke Dharma to them. Until some rich person, Sudana, I think, a rich merchant in the city of Shravasti, the first one, who says, well, Buddha had so many disciples, so many great patrons. And it's funny, the great patron never thought of building anything for him. It's fantastic. They're so pure back then. Okay? And so this guy here decided to get a piece of land. So he paid dearly. He found the best piece of land, where the Buddha can permanently stay there, because before he had to go and move from place to place because you lose your welcome. People get, you have 1,000 people who go to the toilet, every day. That's difficult to manage, okay? Besides the trash, besides all the things. And so eventually this guy figured out, and Buddha never said anything. And this guy decided to buy this wonderful piece of land from a prince and paid dearly for it, a lot more than, I believe, than the prices of real estate nowadays that the tycoons are using to buy their land and their properties. It's nowhere near what this guy paid for. That's one piece of property. The Jeta Grove, because the prince named Jeta, okay? He had this grove where he grew an orchard or something, lots of trees, fruit trees. And so he bought it with gold. The price was, the prince said, you can buy my piece of land, my land. I'm in love with my piece of land. I'm not willing to part with you. However, since you have a good cause, you're supporting your Buddha, and my dad is a patron of Buddha, so I'm willing to sell it to you if at the price of you take gold and you cover the surface of my land. And Sudana said, okay, immediately, okay. And that's what he did, okay? Imagine, take a piece of gold there and lay it on top of every single inch of the land. And what's the price of gold nowadays? The last I checked, $2,700 yesterday. It's a huge garden. Anyway, and so Sudana spent a fortune. And then after that, he also himself, personally, along with Shariputra, planned out which buildings to erect. This lecture hall and a Buddha hall and lodging for the Buddha and for his disciples. 1,255 people, housing for them, place to eat. And of course, I don't know what they used back then for sewage. Probably a river. Anyway, so see, my point being that the Buddha himself never cared. Someone had offered to him, okay, and so and his disciples are so pure, such great cultivators. They couldn't care less if they had to meditate when it rained, and when it rained and they had to go to the toilet, didn't bother them at all. So little things, little details that we take for granted that I'm very particular about the restrooms, okay? And so back then, these people were true cultivators. And Master Hsuan, this is his attachment. He had to build temples everywhere he went, okay, to propagate Mahayana. Of course, that's a good point. You need a place where people can gather and practice nowadays, okay? So he built temples and he carried out projects, okay? I'm very ashamed of myself. Why? I feel that I should not waste donors' money. I wouldn't even use a single dollar carelessly. And so you see, You see, it's not, no one is watching over him. No one is auditing his books, making sure that he's not wasting money and using the money that he's supposed to use. But for himself, he would not waste any money at all. So that's that kind of mindset. I would not even use even a single dollar carelessly. And that's Master YongHua. And that's what he taught to his disciples. I'm the opposite. I want you to waste money. As long as we have it, you can waste it. And we have no more money, then we stop. And we go to the mountain so that you can't waste anymore. Okay. What is it with this not wasting thing? Because one of my disciples in particular, she's crazy about not wasting. I mean crazy. It's not enough food to eat. It's always, if there's surplus food, very, very unhappy, And if you waste food, you waste water and something, she would be so afflicted. And because of that, I'm grateful. I said, I'm going to waste money. I'm going to waste water. I'm going to waste electricity. Okay? Cut it out. Be for real. Okay? Don't scare people like that. Okay? If you want to help, you waste food. I keep on telling her, but she will not listen. You cook a lot more than is needed, and then next meal you change it. You add more spices, you add more MSG or whatever. Okay, to change the flavors. Okay, but you want to make sure that people have plenty to eat, because the last thing you want is for people not to have enough food, not to have enough energy, so that they cannot work or cultivate. In our environment, working is cultivation, by the way. His projects here, okay? Carry out projects, whatever he is doing, that's work projects. Carry out work projects, okay? That's cultivation too, okay? And the last thing you want to do, the last thing I want to do is not give you enough food so that you run out of steam and you do your physical work, help on the construction, and you use a hammer and flatten your thumb. That would be my fault. So far, we've been very lucky, but I know some of my people are starving. They don't have enough food. Some of the visitors are saying that they don't have enough food to eat. And I sort of ignore it a little bit, because they're supposed to suffer a little bit more. They have enough food at home. But I'm more worried about my regular, my monks and nuns and the residents of the temple, where they work a lot. These people at the temple, they work very hard. I don't see, let me tell you, we don't have a lot of people who are loafing around. For some reason, you don't need to stand there and watch them with a whip, okay? Or dart gun, or some electric shocks, okay? They all work very hard. I'm worried about it. I'm worried. I want to make sure they have enough nutrition, enough protein, enough vitamins and so forth. And I said, if you need whatever you need, I buy for you, okay? Because the last thing I want to do is to not give you enough nutrition. If you do physical work, I even allow them to eat 3 meals a day, 4 meals a day, 5 meals a day if necessary. Okay? We will not deprive you of nutrition and food. Okay, I'm willing to waste food. Eventually, we waste food more. Okay, so he carry out projects. He's like, I'm gonna waste your money. It's an obsession. What I'm trying to teach you is not to waste the donors' money. Whatever donors give us, we don't want to waste it. That's how we show appreciation. But not this obsession about, I'm going to pinch every single penny. To me, it's excessive. It's not need. At his level, yeah, maybe. I wouldn't do that. But at your level, you don't need to be this way. It's not wise. Okay? It's excessive. You want to stay away from excessive things. Okay? I'm teaching you about the middle way. Yes, I know none of you are wasteful. If you're wasteful, I would tell you immediately. Okay? And most of you, especially the one who've been around, you all work very hard. The new ones, they begin to see, and eventually they understand why they want to work. And because it's a meritocracy here in our community, you get up there because you deserve it. No one's going to give it to you. And you earn it by inches, by 2 minutes. You want to sit longer? I taught you already in my Chan handbook. Sit 2 minutes longer. That's all. That's all. What you do. You want to sit longer? You can't sit. Don't fight. Don't go for the super lotto right away. Okay? Go 2 minutes more each time, and you'll be amazed in a month how far you come. Every day you sit and you increase 2 minutes. Next day, 2 more minutes. After 2 more minutes, you're done. You don't need to do anything else. Okay? For the day. And you do that. That's how you improve every day. You have to do it. You can't talk about it. GMT.
마스터, 들리세요? 네, 어제 상욱 스님께서 저한테 이제 솔루션을 주셨던 게 인식하고 내려놓는다였었어요. 근데 제 질문은, 세라님 여기 한번 끊을까? 더 해도 될까요? 한번 끊을까요? 네.
So I remember yesterday, Saguk S님's solution to my question was that recognize it and let it go.
근데 제가 내려놔야 될 것들이 굉장히 많은데 제가 오늘 질문 드리고 싶었던 거는 자기 결정, 그것도 제가 집착하고 내려놔야 되는 요소 중에 하나인지를 질문 드립니다. 자기 결정은 self determination이라고 통역하시면 될 것 같아요. 네.
So there are so many things that I need to let it go. Today, specifically, I'd like to ask, do I need to let it go of self-determination?
예를 들면 이제 저 같은 경우는 하기로 결정한 건 반드시 하고 안 하기로 결정한 건 반드시 안 하는데 이런 식의 자기 결정도 제가 집착하고 내려놔야 되는 요소 중에 하나인지를 질문드리고 싶습니다. 장거든요. 네.
So in my case, something that I decide to do, I must do it. Something I decide not to do it, I must not do it. So is this also let it go? Do I need to let it go?
Is Sangwook Sunim there? Sangwook Sunim, you started it. Finish it.
Yeah, I think she needs to let it go.
You heard it from Sangwok Sunim. The rest of you, would you like to share your experience? See, Jumi has a lot of things that she's need to let go. And it's very particular. Anyone can share your experiences, or is Jumi so unique that it cannot be replicated? So she's the only one that has this problem?
마스터, 그러니까 마스터 저 같은 경우는 마치 제가 결정하고 결심한 걸 바꾸는 게 타협하고 비겁한 것 같거든요. 자기 합리화 같고. 그래서 제가 좀 결정한 거에 대해서는 반드시 이행하는 편이라서 질문 드렸습니다. 네, 부가 설명은 그래요.
So I'd like to explain additional things about this. In
Please
my
do,
case,
please do, yeah.
네, 해보세요. 네. In my case,
You are very, very always difficult case to handle.
어려운 일은 있습니다.
More information is always helpful.
So for example, I decide to do something, and then if I don't do it, I decide to do something. If I compromise at being weak, I don't think that's the right thing.
No, it's weak. You should be a stronger woman. So Sangwok Sunim, what do you have to say? She says, if I drop it, then I'm weak. What do you think?
It's okay to be weak.
Sangwok Sunim, I hope you notice that you contradicted me. It's not good to contradict your master in the same day. At least wait for 24 hours. What do you have to say for yourself? I'm trying to teach you. Can someone help her out?
Thank you, Master. Jumi, from where I sit, when Master told you not to be weak, he used a nonverbal cue hinting that it was okay to be weak. I'm not sure you saw that.
That doesn't help. You're contradicting me as well. Do I have this body language that contradicts me constantly? Okay. Before we get sidetracked and get too deep, go ahead, accept. You're Korean, you should have better insights than we do into Jumi's mind.
주민님, 멍청해지고 약해지는 걸 인정해주는 건 엄청 강한 거예요. 제가 느끼기엔 그래요.
Accepting stupidity and being weak is becoming stronger.
Wow, she sounds like me now. That's not Korean. This is American. Korean don't speak like that. Very good. Okay, listen. Sangwok Sunim. You have to be careful. You understand the principle, but the way you give advice is wrong. Okay? You avoid, when you try to help people, when you try to give advices to people, instructions to people, you don't want to give them a blanket approach. Like you say, it's okay to be weak, it's okay to drop it. No. Then what do? You say, give me an example. Because there's no such a thing as a blanket approach to this particular problem. Okay? Each problem has different facets depending on the time, depending all in particular on the person. So that's why you never give a blanket or a general explanation. Okay? That's Master YongHua's level. You're not at that level. You can't say that. Okay? You don't want to say that. Master YongHua, he has so much wisdom when he said, yeah, it's okay to be weak, because he addresses so many people right there as long as us. So he has a reason for saying it. But for us, especially for you, who you do know that you're pretty far from Master YongHua's level. So that's why you want to be specific. You said, give me an example. Give me an example that you want to do something, and if you were to give it up, then would be weak and so forth. Okay? It's a lot easier to handle than giving a blanket like policy things. I give you the analogy. If you work in a company, which you never did, okay? You work in a company, each person at each level, their responsibility is very well defined. The supervisor is in charge of 5 people under him or her. And then the manager is in charge of 3 or 4 supervisors and so forth. And then you have a director who's in charge of maybe 6 managers and so forth. So the scope is very clearly defined, so that we all have our domain of responsibility. That's what is meant by being specific. Okay? Only the guy at the top, that's Master YongHua, can see the entire. He has a vision. He has the wisdom to be able to decide for the entire organization. Okay? You never worked before. That's why you are not sensitive to this. You have to be very, very specific. You don't want to give blanket policy statements like, you have to drop it. The dropping it is what great teachers like Master YongHua, Master Weishan, Master Yangshan would do, the Buddhas would do, Mahasattvas would do. But this is what happens to the Dharma masters. They imitate it, they read it somewhere in the scriptures, and they imitate it, and all the Buddhist disciples, oh, he knows so much, he's saying exactly the same thing as the Buddhas. And that's why all the disciples of those Dharma masters are confused like hell. Each time is different. Each season is different. Each person is different. The same exact thing. If I gave up, I feel so weak. Define weak, because weak is my word, not her word. Okay? Weak to me is very clear. You have no muscles. How many pounds can you lift? Okay? And so forth. For me, it's very, 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 very clear. Okay? How many hours can you sit? How many days can you fast? And so forth. Okay? And so, be careful. That's all. Narrow it down. You chop it down. Okay? Make it more and more specific until you say, this I know to handle. If not, then you ask for help. Okay? Unless you ask for help, for clarification, we will not teach you. If you can, you feel that you can figure it out by yourself, go for it. No one is forcing you to ask for help. Okay? All right, DTT.
I was going to say, Jumi can ask the same question tomorrow. Sorry.
Yes, it's good to encourage asking questions. And thank you, XQ2. Now that you are nervous, you will learn. Yes, JMT.
일단 상욱 스님이 저 개인적으로는 물론 이제 마스터께서 상욱 스님하고 현법 스님을 훈련시키시는 거지만 저 개인적으로는 상욱 스님하고 현법 스님 말씀해 주신 게 도움이 됐고요. 네.
I understand, Master, you're training Sanguk Sinim and Venerable Shenpa, but their answers actually helped me.
Oh, I'm so glad.
그러니까,
Okay, very good.
네, 그러니까 마스터께서 원래 저한테 상반된 인스트럭션을 많이 주셨어요. 그러니까 복을 많이 지으라고 하셨지만 저한테는 손해를 감수하고 양보하라고 하셨고 시간 낭비하지 말라고 하시지만 저한테 시간 낭비하라고 하셨고 또 뭐 예불이나 이런 걸 완벽하게 숙지해야 된다라고 하시지만 저한테는 유연해야 된다라고 가르침을 주셨기 때문에 결론적으로는 상욱 스님이나 현법 스님 말씀이 도움이 됐고요. 네.
So, Master, you gave me a lot of contradicting instructions. For
Of course I
example, you
do.
said, 당연한 거 아닌가? For example, you said create blessings, but you
Yep.
said you need to take a loss.
Yep,
And then you said, don't waste time.
yep.
And then you said, waste time.
Oh, true.
Ceremony must be perfect.
Yes.
But you said, be flexible.
Yes.
So with all this, based on these advice, Sanguk Sinim's
I can
advice
explain.
was helpful.
For someone who is not perfect, I say you perfect. Okay, because I'm look at the future. If you stick around long enough, you'll be perfect. You have to live with contradiction. And that's why I'm teaching Sanguk Sunim not to worry about blanket statement that will be true for 10,000 years. Only answer the question at that moment. If you do that, you can contradict yourself. Because at that moment, it calls for you to do certain things, and then that will no longer hold true tomorrow. So yes, even Buddha's, he has a lot of contradictions in his teachings. For example, when he taught Agama, he says, this is the best thing possible for you. It's not true. It's the best thing possible for children, not for adults. So when you're a child, you listen and say, oh, I'm so special and so forth. But the adults, the bodhisattvas, listen to this and say, oh, it's not for me. They can tell right away. So that's why Buddhas even contradict himself. Okay? So stop blaming me. I'm almost like Buddha. Okay? All right. Moving on. I would not use even $1 carelessly. To me, this is excessive. Why do I say that? Because I look at you. Yes, you're all so responsible because our environment, our system is a system of meritocracy, remember? You waste things, it's to your loss. You work harder, you help out, you contribute more, it's to your benefit. You progress a lot quicker. You get there a lot sooner. But you want to take it easy? No problem. You can take it easy. No one is forcing you. We're very tolerant, okay? So it's a meritocracy. Whatever you get what you deserve is an American expression, all right? And so I know you're all like that because of our system. But there's this, for him, I still don't understand why is that he's so obsessed about not wasting a dollar, okay? Maybe he feels his people are not responsible. I feel you're so responsible. Okay? And in particular, unlike him, I'm poor already, and I can afford to waste. I'm not worried about waste at all. For example, long ago, several years ago, in the basement of WMT, I walk in there and I realized that back then there are a lot more new people coming frequently. And I walk in there and I realize, oh my God, it's so dark. And luckily in that basement, there's no sharp corners, very few sharp corners. So it's unlikely you hurt yourself, okay? So safety and injury wasn't a concern. But I called the nun there and said, listen, I have people coming, new people coming. And let me teach you something I learned in marketing when I was a layperson. Women, when they come to a place, they want it to be bright. When it's dark, they don't feel good. They don't feel comfortable. So during the non-public hours, you can turn off the lights. But before public hours, for example, we have a class at 9 a.m., then 8:30 a.m., I want the light to be on. I'm willing to waste electricity because it's my blessings. He's not willing to waste his single dollar because he doesn't want to waste his blessings. That's fine. It's my temple. I'm prepared to waste to get what I want, to do what I need to do. But apparently I'm superseded by his instruction. Don't waste anything. This idiot. And today, it's still the same thing. I walk into my trade building, I said, middle row here, I want light there. Still no light. So, your master is getting old, and so that no one is scared of him anymore. All right, this obsession of not wasting, to me, is excessive. If you're in China, I can understand that. But here in America, we have different standards. It's important to waste sometimes, to be wasteful, because you get something else in return. So I'm not asking you to make offering to me, but the money you offer me I will definitely use to create some merit and virtue for you. And this is the spirit, okay? It's not about wasting. This is where I feel he's excessive. If the money that's donated to the temple for whatever the reasons are all used for the Dharma propagation and do good things for others, then the point here is not about waste. What is the point? The point is you want to maximize the benefits, maximize the merit and virtue for others. You see, He's looking at the wrong side of the equation, I feel. One side is you don't waste. One side is maximizing merit and virtue. You see it right here. Okay? So he wants to not waste. He also wants to maximize merit and virtue. And my point being that sometimes you have to be wasteful to create more merit and virtue. You cannot be extreme. And I trust your judgment because I observe you more than you realize. Okay? You want to see your mind, your heart. I'm not worried about your details. Say, where are you? What is your samadhi level? And your actions tell me very consistent with your samadhi level. So that's why, to me, personally, with all due respect, I disagree with him right here. He misses the point. The point here, for me personally, is to try our best, all of us, to maximize the merit and virtue for you. Because that's what's going to help you become enlightened and get what you want. It's not about me not wasting the money. The wrong side of the equation, to me. I look at the mission, prioritize the mission, not the means. He's prioritizing both the means and the mission. You understand? Means and mission. Mission is that, what are we trying to do? What is our purpose? Why are we doing this? Why do we do all these things here? You know, these lights, these sounds, these screens. Why are we doing this? What is a mission? The means is that, how do we deliver? How do we accomplish the mission? What does it take to accomplish a mission? Not squeeze money. To me, is what you do, what you need to do to get it done as beneficial, the biggest beneficial way possible that we can. Not crushing money, not squeezing pennies, pinching pennies. That's the difference. Chinese versus Vietnam. No, I mean American. Therefore, you don't need to have regrets. There's another way. Now you have regrets, you can retract the money. You see, when he says, don't worry, give me money, I will make sure that I don't waste it and I do the best thing for you. And he's right. And to paraphrase him, you give him money, you want it back, I ain't giving it back to you because I spent it already. Okay? Now you say, I don't want to take refuge. I have taken refuge for so long, I want to renege. Yes, it's perfectly okay. You can take refuge as often you want. You can renege as often you want. Well, those who can refuge want to renege, I approve. Those who have taken refuge want to renege, I also approve. For me, everything is okay. That's him. That's Master YongHua. Everything is okay. You're a true cultivator, it's okay. You scammer, it's okay. For me, I slap you in the face right away. Because I want you to go higher. It's not okay to stagnate. My job is to maximize the merit and virtue to the donors. And if you stagnate, it's not going to be maximized. That's why I slapped you right away. There's a difference in style. Not everything is okay to me. Sometimes it's not okay. But most of the time, it's okay. Jumi, be happy. Wei Mountain.
Master, what does renege mean?
Renege is you don't keep your promise. Because when you take refuge, for example, when you take refuge, part of the liturgy says that I swear to God, I would never befriend the Christians. Something like that. I would never befriend, have deviant friends and have evil companions. Okay? And you said, when you came back and come back after the ceremony, the refuge ceremony, you said, but I like my wife. My wife is so evil. I like it. I need her. Okay? Did I say something wrong? No? Okay. Because Xin Xin will keep me in check. He says, Master, don't go there. Okay?
No, I have a question.
Let's have an understanding. It's perfectly okay. No one notices except me. Okay? And Ray Zhuang there. Okay? You can go like this. It's okay, thank you. Okay, so renege is that when you take a refuge, you make certain promises in front of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and the Master is a witness. He certifies you made such promises, and then after that, you say, "Hey, I changed my mind. I don't want to do it anymore. I love my evil wife. I can't live without her." Okay. Oh. And so you can back up. You can renege on your promises, on your because you actually are making a vow in front of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and need to renege it. Okay, and that process is very simple actually. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas really don't care if you renege or not. Okay. It's your choice. We don't force anyone to do anything. Was there a question? Anything else? Yes, 6.
There's a few things on YouTube. There's a comment, I think for Jumi, that Rutong said, it's just depression. I went through similar scenarios. There's a question from Robin's Nest, which pertains to yesterday's lecture. I'm not sure if you want to take that next week or...
No, we take it now, before I forget.
She says, Emitofuo, Master, I have a question from the previous Dharma talk. My question is related to Bodhisattva Maitreya in Tushita heaven.
Yes.
It says in the sutras that at the end of the gods' lives, they will begin to become afflicted. You mentioned Bodhisattvas will come to comfort them at the time of death to teach them Dharma. But what good is cultivating at the time of death? As well, what do bodhisattvas like Maitreya teach in heavens like Tushita? How can gods constantly surrounded by sensual pleasures cultivate the right Dharma?
Very perceptive. First of all, when the Buddha talked about from the sutras, when the Buddha, the Mahasattvas talked about, I go there and the Buddha sees people suffering and they speak Dharma to help them and help provide relief out of kindness and compassion. That's what they do naturally. It's not something, it's automatic. They see an opportunity to help someone in suffering. That's what they do. Okay? So when the gods at the end of their lives, they suffer so much, that's when Buddhas would come and talk to them and help them. And actually, furthermore, it's a great opportunity because when you have everything, when you are happy and you have a lot of fun and you have what you want, then it's no reason for you to listen to the Dharma. People only listen to the Dharma when they are suffering. So that's why in our Sao world in particular, we have to wait until people really are suffering and they can't take it. That's when we speak Dharma to them. It's most helpful to them. That is assuming that they have enough blessings. Those who don't have the blessings, doesn't matter what we say. They always have doubts. They don't believe. Okay? But anyway, it doesn't stop us from speaking to them. But then it's not much you can expect. Buddhas do that. They come and out of kindness and compassion, if the gods are suffering and they feel that they can help, the Buddhas will come and speak to the gods, in particular certain types of gods, because the conditions are ripe for those gods to be able to benefit from Buddha's help. That's the difference between Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas sometimes waste their time. Buddhas don't. Buddhas just sit there and say, this one is suffering? No. That one suffering? No, not time yet. This one suffering? Okay, I go talk to her. So Buddha is very precise. He ignores all that and zoom, we'll talk to you. Okay? And so that's what Buddhas do. Maitreya Bodhisattva is also in the heavens, in a Tushita heaven. Tushita heaven has two general areas. One is inner court and outer court. Inner court is a Pure Land where Maitreya resides, dwells. Dwell is from a Chinese word, true, okay? Where he resides, and that's his abode, if you will. And within the Tushita heaven, people cultivate there. People are cultivating, even though they're happy, that because like most Pure Lands, people don't suffer at all. Within the inner court, people don't suffer at all. So that's why they cultivate in that inner court of the Tushita heaven as the same way as they would cultivate in other Pure Lands. Okay? It's no suffering. At the end of their lives, no suffering either. Okay? But the outer courts, that's when the gods and goddesses, they're not interested in cultivation at all because they have so much fun. Whatever they want, they have it. Okay? They, as I said, in that, I forgot. It's been a while, but so the way they have fun is so cool. I'm not going to tell you. I just need to remind me how it's done. Each level, how they have fun. So they have a lot of fun themselves, and they can have it at will. Okay, here, for example, I'm told by my Shanghai disciples, they need to use dating apps. Tushita heaven, no dating apps necessary, if you will. Okay, and so it's so convenient. Okay, and so they don't know suffering at all. They're having so much fun constantly. Why would they cultivate? You only cultivate because there's a need to cultivate. When you have pleasure, okay, and you get what you want, no one will cultivate. That's what happens in the heavens. They don't cultivate until they suffer. Okay? In fact, if I don't know if we have a chance to go into it, In the Avatamsaka Sutra, it describes the states of life in the Christian God heavens. And in the heaven, which is second level desire heaven versus Tushita is the fourth desire heaven, which is more fun, let me tell you. 2 times, 4 times more fun, if you will. Each level it's a factor of 2. Okay, so even at the second desire heaven, they have so much fun that the God himself, Indra, Shakra, he would every now and then, he has this big taiko drum. Okay, I think it's the same, made the same way as the taiko drum. And he would beat the drum, bang, 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 okay? And so loud that he wakes up all the other gods and goddesses. And they would come. And this is what we do in temples too. Not in the cities, because when we do that, our neighbors would take us to court. But for the real temples, in the mountains, there is a area, even like a building where you have a big drum, like in Korea, that they have a big a structure where you put a big drum right there, and then another structure where you put a big bell right there, okay, and so forth, and so even God himself look at that and he's worried. He says, oh my God, my people are so lost. They are so confused now. Okay? And so he would beat his big drum. And it's a wake-up call because the sound there is so loud and has a way of waking them up from their being immersed in their pleasures. And they gather to the drum area, and the God then will speak Dharma. And, hey, I say, boys and girls, I know you're having fun, I know you're happy, but don't forget to cultivate. Let's do Wei Yan Chan. For half an hour, I'll let you go. And that's what has happened, by the way. Okay? And because Chakra is a Buddhist disciple. And that's what you taught him, Chan. Yes, DTT.
네, 마스터, 아이들과 와서 잘 지내고 있습니다. 네, 여러 가지 배려와 그리고 여기 계신 분과 금림선사의 많은 분들의 희생에 감사드립니다. 제가 질문하고 싶은 거는 저도 하루 더 묵고 LA로 내려갈 예정인데 그 길이 너무 길어서 중간에 한번 다른 곳에서 묵고 내려가도 될지 선체 기간이라서 여쭤봅니다.
Master, I'd like to thank for everything, the thoughtful care and sacrifice people try to take care of me at DTT and GF. And I have a question. I'm planning to stay one more night here and going down to LA. Since it's a long distance, I'd like to stay one night somewhere. Mm-hmm. Is that a good idea?
Yeah, you can stay as long as you like. And actually, it's very good for you to stay. The temple is not as comfortable and as your family's homes and so forth. But it's very good for your family, for your children. Okay.
Master, I'm sorry. She's saying, can she stop on the way to LA and stay somewhere else, not at a temple?
And she can. She can go and stay at under a tree. If she's into it, we. Although I don't recommend it because it's not safe nowadays. you could check into hotel and so forth. Be careful because you have to know where you're going. And nowadays, you probably want to have someone to guide you. For example, one of my disciples came up here and he ventured. We forgot to tell him, so he ventured by himself into Oakland. I don't dare go to Oakland myself, except for Vicky and some of my disciples. We have business there. I don't go to Oakland. Okay, and so because I'm supposed to stay away from places that are not safe. And so, yeah, you can stay here or you can stay temporarily if it's fun for you to go to places. Okay? It's okay. You'll be okay.
네, 감사합니다.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Anyone else? JMT? Go ahead, Jumi. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, sir. Yeah, go ahead, speak. No? He changed his mind?
I think there's a problem with their mic.
네, 마스터. 진전하는 데 있어서 앉아서 자기가 필수적일까요?
Master, in order to make a progress, is it necessary to sit sleep?
No, absolutely not. You do whatever interests you. Well, don't do like others. Okay? Sit sleeping is kind of extreme. I feel that people should lie down to sleep. Even Buddhas lie down to sleep. I think sleep is sacred. Sit sleeping is self-torture. It's Jungin Sunim who likes to do that because sit sleeping has a purpose that I understand from Master YongHua. He had a lot of Caucasian disciples who have high sexual desires. If you have a high sexual desires, you want to sit sleep. It's very helpful. Some of his Asian disciples also have desires issues. And he taught them to sit sleep. That's how I see it. Okay? But sit sleeping is really not necessary. Because there's many of his disciples who sit sleep, and because of their result of the sit sleeping, they build up a lot of qi, a lot of kung fu. And I don't like their behavior. They abuse the kung fu. That's what happens when you build all this kung fu because you sit sleep. You build a lot of qi in your navel, and he never taught them how not to abuse it. So I saw and I see his disciples abusing it, and I don't like it. I'd rather you don't have any qi so that I can teach you up here. I don't need you to be down here on the navel. They don't understand yet. He hasn't taught them yet. That's why they don't understand this qi here is dangerous. I want to teach you up here. Okay? This is the problem, not here, not down there. Okay? And so that's why I'm not that, I do things slightly differently than he does because conditions are different. He had a lot more disciples who have desire issues, lots of Caucasians who really, have that issue. So that's why he taught them to sit sleep. But then He never taught them what to do with the build up of the chi here. And if you have so much here, you will abuse it. I'd rather you don't have anything. It's easy for me to teach you to break through. Because when you have it here, you start abusing it. You start saying, "Ayan!" You start impressing people, scaring people into submission. That's what monks do, by the way. I do that too. Only to some people. Okay? Only when it's necessary. But monks and nuns, they have this tendency that they feel, for example, they deserve respect. I don't. I'm just the opposite. I don't feel I deserve any respect. Whatever respect you want to give me, I better earn it. Okay? Day in, day out. It's nothing taken for granted. But for the monks and nuns, the Asian system in particular, put them on a pedestal because the masters like Master YongHua are so revered, so respected. And so they all are the other great Sanghas. Okay? And so our generation, the disciples, they look at that and say, okay, I need to be respected to do my jobs. And I'm the opposite. I said, I don't need to be respected. I'd rather you have no respect for me, and that's why I can do my sales job on you. Okay, they're in the West. We don't need respect. Okay, and so that's what happened to these people. I'm sharing it with you because Chung-in Sunim, you better be careful because you sleep too often, you build all this chi here. So you have so much energy in here. Okay? And that's what happened to the majority, especially many Sunims over there, I notice. They work very hard and they have built this chi here. And that's why they use it to impose the will on their disciples so that their disciples respect their temples, have more respect. And to me, that's extremely dangerous. I don't allow it. I'd rather people don't respect my disciples. That way, they're not stuck. If this is what happens to many Vietnam monks, Taiwan monks, Chinese monk, you name it. That's what I notice. Korean monks, they all want to be respected. Shh, that's wrong. We don't need to be respected. We don't want to be respected. It's better that they don't respect us. It's better they don't understand us. So we're free to cultivate and do what we need to do to open our wisdom. Only the weak demand to be respected. When you're so strong, you don't need any respect. And that's why I do not allow my students to demand respect. Maybe one or two. They're too old, I don't care. Okay? Let them die. They've done enough, okay, for themselves. So, but for us, we don't want respect. That's why I made my girls walk in front of my boys. And my boys say, they don't respect me. I say, that's right. You better earn it, boy. JMT.
네, 마스터 질문이 하나 더 있는데요. 명상을 하고 나서 좀 눈물이 나왔는데 이것도 마의 장난이라고 할 수 있을까요? 그 능엄경에서 나온 50가지 마 중에 하나인가요? 우는 것도 네.
Master, during the meditation, I cried. And is that obstruction coming from demon?
I don't know. Anyone cries? It never happened to me before. Anyone cries? Raise your hands. See, they're all liars here and go forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my God, you're all crazy. It's depression. When you meditate and you cry hopelessly, you can't help yourself and you tear up, it's depression. It's a good thing. Okay? I told you they cannot help themselves when they see that we are in such a state of bliss and and so happy, they have to come and bother us. And so when they come, that's why I say, hey, that's depression attack. We outsmart them, don't worry. Naturally you cry, eventually you stop. Then because you grow up. Okay? You're lucky in that I observe a lot from the Vietnam and the Tibetans, and I look around and because my master left me totally confused, so I had to go around look for things, look at his own disciples and so forth. That's why I'm doing a lot of things that are very unusual, because for the sake of preventing you from getting stuck. That's the only thing that I'm afraid of, you get stuck. Speaking, for example, of sleeping, this scary nun, those of you who've been listening to me would know who she is. I both love her and loathe her at the same time. It's called the middle way, okay? I revered her. I really used to admire her because she's very good at speaking Dharma. And she scared the heck out of me. She's been sleeping for like 30, 40, 50 years already. And if you have so much energy and you are not taught to channel the energy, you do it wrong. And you get stuck. This woman is stuck for so long. I feel sorry for her. All his disciples who sleep, they're all stuck. Because when you're so strong and weaker people than you misbehave and don't respect you enough and do stupid things to waste your time, you then naturally demand respect. We don't do that. The stronger you are, the more you embrace people, not force people your way. Strength is to be able to absorb it. You take this fist here, you hit into, you're not into martial arts? You hit into the stomach here, okay? And because that's when you want to hurt people, you hit them in many, many different spots. But the point here is that I give you an analogy. You hit into people like that, okay? If you hit into Master YongHua, okay, all your might, okay? If I hit into Master YongHua, all my might, all my strength, you know what's going to happen? His stomach will go in and then absorb it. That's strength. You don't know how strong someone is until you do something to them. they never show their strength. He's the exact opposite of his disciples. All his disciples are too eager to show they're stronger to each other. That's why I saw them fighting each other, oppressing me and beating me up and stuff like that. See, basically the attitude is that, you're so stupid, why don't you listen to me? I said, I don't listen to you. I told myself, I don't listen to you because you lack merit and virtue. That's why my blessings don't allow me to respect you. Your blessings are a shield for you. No matter what they do to you, they can't break through. So I didn't have the samadhi, but I have the blessings. So they never could impress me, no matter how hard they try. And oh God, did they try. Because I was hot stuff, let me tell you. My education, my background, and my intellect. I was hot stuff wherever I went, and they all tried to impress me. And they tried to oppress me into submission, and yes, they were stronger, but my blessing, you may scare me, but my intellect says, I'm not impressed. That's blessings. No hesitation. My blessing says, this Chinese monk is the best. And they're not. The others, they don't deserve it. I don't need to respect them. No hesitation. Yes, they beat me up and it hurt and all those things, and I was scared. But after that, the blessings, he says, I shouldn't be scared. This is unimpressive. If they need to oppress you, that's no good. I will not be like that. Okay. We gossip a lot, as you notice. If I do that, you have to earn it tonight. Sit, sleep. Okay, that's the end of the tape, right? Okay, thank you everyone. Good night.